Welcome back to Tales of Love, everyone. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoy steamy, forbidden romance stories. Tonight, I have a tale that will take you into the heart of temptation, desire, and secrets best left unspoken. It all began when I offered to stay at my sister's house for a few days to help with her kids. The house was quiet when the children were finally asleep, and the cozy living room felt strangely intimate in the soft glow of the lamps. I was sipping a cup of tea when he appeared, the brother-in-law I'd always known as polite, friendly, yet somehow magnetic. He sat beside me on the sofa, and for a moment, our conversation lingered on casual topics: the weather, the kids, trivial complaints about work. But then, his tone softened, his eyes reflecting something deeper, a vulnerability I had never seen before. "I don't know how to say this," he confessed, his voice low. I'm not happy. Things with my wife, it's just not what I imagined." I felt my heart tighten at his words, a mix of empathy and an unexpected stir of something forbidden. His hand brushed against mine, innocent, or so it seemed, but it sent a spark of heat up my arm. The air between us thickened, charged with unspoken tension. As the evening wore on, our conversation wandered into deeper, more personal territory. He told me things he'd never shared with anyone, and I found myself opening up as well. There was a magnetic pull, an undeniable connection neither of us could deny. By the time we realized how late it had become, our knees were nearly touching, and the tension was almost unbearable. The quiet of the house felt like a cocoon, pressing us closer together with every word, every subtle glance. I noticed the way his gaze lingered on my lips for just a second too long, or how his fingers absent-mindedly brushed against mine when he laughed. Each touch, each small gesture, carried a weight that made my pulse race. "I shouldn't feel this way," I whispered, more to myself than to him. "You're my sister's husband." He gave a half-smile, almost shy, almost teasing. "I know," he said, his voice low and warm, "and that's what makes it complicated." There was a pause, a quiet moment where the air seemed to vibrate between us. He leaned slightly closer, and I could feel the heat radiating from him. My heart was pounding, guilt and desire warring in equal measure. I had come here to help my sister, not to be drawn into an affair that could shatter lives. And yet, I couldn't pull away. Our conversation dwindled into soft, stolen silences, punctuated by subtle touches, his hand grazing mine as he passed a cup of tea, my fingers brushing against his as we reached for the same blanket. Each touch was electric, sending shivers down my spine. Then, in a moment of reckless honesty, he admitted, "I can't stop thinking about you." His words were simple, but they struck me like lightning. My breath caught. My body reacted before my mind could fully process what he had said. "You shouldn't," I murmured, though even as I said it, my lips curved into a small, reluctant smile. The tension was unbearable, thick enough to taste. And when our eyes met again, it was like staring into a storm, impossible to resist, even knowing the danger. Slowly, almost hesitantly, he reached out and tucked a strand of hair behind my ear. The contact was intimate, tender, and my resolve weakened under the weight of his gaze. "I've never felt like this with anyone," he confessed. I can't ignore it anymore." Our knees brushed again, this time intentionally, sending sparks of heat straight through me. The room felt smaller, more intimate, every heartbeat amplified. And then, as if drawn by an invisible force, our faces inched closer, the world narrowing to just the two of us. The first kiss was gentle, testing boundaries, tasting the danger. It started slow, a brush of lips that sent shivers down my spine, and quickly escalated into something hotter, more consuming. Our hands roamed cautiously at first, then with a hunger that neither of us wanted to deny. As the night deepened, we found ourselves wrapped in stolen moments, bodies pressed together on the couch, hearts racing. Every touch was electric, every whispered word laced with temptation. Guilt lingered in the back of my mind, but desire drowned it out. We were caught in a forbidden storm, unable or unwilling to escape. The night stretched on, a series of secret glances, light touches, and heated embraces. Every moment felt dangerous, intoxicating, and utterly consuming. Each time we pulled back, longing and anticipation left us restless, craving the next stolen moment. By the time the children stirred the next morning, we had retreated to separate corners of the house, but the memory of the night before burned hot and undeniable. We were bound by secrecy, by desire, by the knowledge that this forbidden romance had only just begun. Over the next few days, the house seemed charged with a quiet electricity. Every glance, every brush of hands in the kitchen, every accidental touch carried the weight of unspoken desire. We both tried to act normal around the children, laughing at jokes, discussing meals, and handling homework, but the air between us simmered, impossible to ignore. One evening, after tucking the kids into bed, he found me in the living room, pretending to read a book. I didn't need to speak. The tension was already palpable. He sat down beside me, close enough that our shoulders brushed, sending a shiver up my spine. "You've been on my mind all day," he murmured, his voice low and filled with heat. "I can't stop thinking about last night." I swallowed hard, heart pounding. "Neither can I admitted, my voice barely above a whisper. The confession hung between us, dangerous and thrilling. He reached out, tracing his fingers along the back of my hand, lingering as if memorizing the touch. "I shouldn't feel this way," he said, his eyes dark with longing, "but I do. And I can't fight it anymore." I leaned closer, drawn by the magnetic pull between us. Our lips met in a searing kiss, this one deeper, hungrier than the night before. His hands moved with a possessive tenderness, tracing my back, pulling me closer. Every touch ignited a fire I could barely contain. Before I knew it, we were pressed against each other on the sofa, unable to resist. Clothing became a barrier we both wanted to remove, and soon we were exploring each other's bodies with a desperate, intoxicating hunger. Every sigh, every gasp, every whispered name fueled the fire, each moment more intense than the last. We paused only briefly, hearts racing, bodies slick with sweat, staring into each other's eyes. The guilt lingered, sharp and biting, but desire drowned it out. In that moment, nothing else existed. Only the two of us, entwined in forbidden passion. Days turned into nights filled with secret encounters. We became experts at stolen moments, a touch here, a whisper there, lingering glances that promise more. Each meeting was a mix of intense pleasure and dangerous excitement, the thrill of betrayal only adding to the heat. Yet, despite the physical passion, there was a growing emotional bond. We shared our fears, our loneliness, our frustrations with our respective situations. Each intimate encounter deepened not just our desire, but our connection, making the affair more complicated and more consuming. One night, as we lay together, the weight of what we were doing finally pressed down on us. I traced circles on his chest, feeling the rapid beat of his heart, and whispered, "This can't go on forever, someone will get hurt." He held me close, his fingers threading through my hair. "I know," he admitted, "but I can't let go. Not yet. Not of you." The forbidden desire, the heated encounters, the emotional connection, they had become a storm neither of us could escape. Every day we tried to act normal, but every night pulled us back into each other's arms, each embrace hotter, each kiss more desperate, until the passion consumed us entirely. As the days passed, our stolen moments grew bolder. The risk of being caught only intensified our desire. One rainy evening, the children were asleep earlier than usual, and the house was silent except for the rhythmic patter of rain against the windows. We found ourselves alone in the living room again, drawn together like magnets. He pulled me close, his lips capturing mine in a kiss that spoke of longing, need, and a hint of desperation. Hands explored with growing urgency, every touch sending shivers down my spine. The world outside ceased to exist. There was only the two of us, hearts pounding, breaths mingling. "You're impossible to resist," he murmured against my lips, his voice thick with desire. "I can't stay away from you." "I don't want you to," I admitted, my body arching toward him instinctively. Even if we shouldn't, even if it's wrong. The confession only made him lean closer, his hands tracing every curve of my body. Clothes became a distant concern as our bodies pressed together, our passion escalating into an almost frantic intensity. Each kiss, each touch, each whispered word was a mix of pleasure and forbidden excitement, a dangerous game we both knew we were playing. Hours seemed to pass in moments. We moved through the night, caught between desire and restraint, hearts pounding, bodies entwined. Every stolen embrace deepened the bond between us, the affair no longer just physical but emotional, almost inevitable. By dawn, exhaustion and satisfaction left us in a quiet, intimate silence. We lay entwined on the sofa, the rain still falling outside, the world outside our little bubble forgotten. Yet, the weight of reality pressed against us. This could not continue forever. "I don't know how much longer we can keep this hidden," I whispered, tracing the lines of his face. "Someone will get hurt." He sighed, holding me closer. "I know, but I don't regret a single moment. You've made me feel alive in ways I never thought possible." We spent a few more days in a careful balance of everyday life and secret passion, each encounter more intense than the last. But eventually, reality could not be ignored. My sister's return from her trip loomed, and we were forced to face the truth. The final night before she came home, we shared a long, lingering embrace, kisses full of both longing and sorrow. "We'll always remember this," he said softly, "even if it has to end." Tears pricked my eyes as I nodded. The affair was passionate, thrilling, and forbidden, but it had to end, for the sake of our families, for the sake of what was right. We parted with one last heated kiss, a memory that would linger, a desire that would never fully fade. As my sister returned, the house was calm and normal once more. We interacted as cousins-in-law should, polite, distant, careful to hide the fire that had burned between us. The tension remained, a silent thread woven into every glance and touch, but we had survived, changed forever by our secret, passionate connection. Though our affair had ended, the memories of stolen nights, whispered confessions, and forbidden desire would linger indefinitely, a secret fire burning quietly beneath the surface. And deep down, we both knew that the attraction, the temptation, the passion would always be a part of us, waiting for the slightest spark to ignite it once more.